to Summoner's Rift. Seconds until minions spawn. Minions have spawned.
Hello, is there audio? There should be audio now. And all right. So I believe I understand correctly. There is audio now. And so we are getting underway. I apologize for any audio technical difficulties, but we should be set. There has already been all right. We've got bands coming through while we wait for the software to update. To give you an idea, it is Camille Urgot Malzahar for G on the red side, and on the blue side we have Darius, Aurelia, and Aatrox. So we will get that updated in the updated in the software, and they can start. Right, yeah, so Darius, Aurelia, Aatrox banned out for Freedom Fighter. Meanwhile, G has banned out Camille, Urgot, and Malzahar. So this should be very interesting. FF, for those who are unaware, is currently our number 3 ranked GGL contender. Very, very competitive player. Put on an amazing opening main event against Python. And comes into this one as a 1.5 betting, excuse me, as a betting favorite. If you haven't already, you can join the Golden Goose Discord server found in our kick, where we have wagers brought to you by one of our sponsors, BetBuddy. But then you have G, who is a very competitive player as well, coming back to try to give it one more shot in the GGL Grand Prix. He has put on very competitive matches, great matches against the likes of Chronix as well as BetComfy, and overall a very exciting player. So we will make sure that everything for their match is set up, and it is set. So we have the matchup, which is going to be Heimerdinger versus Aphelios. So now this is definitely a set of unorthodox picks. We've seen Freedom Fighter typically play the patented Rise pick, while we usually see G on options such as Kled or Nico. Came out very competitive with a Twitch and a Vel'Koz. And so we'll see. There's going to be a very interesting range battle. We saw the last one go pretty far, given especially it was an assassin versus an enchanter. But it's definitely going to be very interesting to see how they do. And we will update the scoreboard so we have that ready for you when the match starts. And so, just as a reminder for those who would be interested, FF is the betting favorite, typically coming with the amount of experience that he has. He's put on very competitive performances, even a CS win and a fight night over Chaos was very back and forth and dealt a lot of damage on his way to that 100 CS. It was definitely a great one. on our YouTube, definitely recommend to go and check it out. But then you have G, who is a player who has typically preferred a more passive, just wait and sort of like exploding playstyle. Will typically wait for his moment and then use that to really go in and engage. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this styles matchup goes forward. But you don't want to miss it. And stay tuned, because coming up next, we're going to have Rain versus Wolf, Explosive versus Jericho, and our main event, Xavi versus Tyler. Best 2 out of 3 main event between 2 team owners. Don't want to miss it. Should be very exciting. And just as a last minute reminder for those that are interested, don't forget to place your wagers. Currently, it is still open. Be a golden opportunity. We are 15 seconds out. Thank you to our sponsors, AGK, BetBuddy, and W Energy, who you'll definitely hear about prior to our next match. And we are waiting for client switch. All right. Heimerdinger versus Aphelios. All right, so in the blue side, we have a mid ADC player holding a competitive GGL record of 3 wins, 1 loss. We have the number 3 ranked GGL contender. We have FF. And then out of the red side, we have a flex player holding a competitive GGL record of 1 win, 1 loss. He is G. All right, so we already see that ward set down in mid lane, and we'll see if no domination second. We have seen players typically set down a ward. You can get an activation off of Ghost Portal, get you an additional form of adaptive damage. And we've also seen it for characters like Senna using the ward to extend her Q attacks, giving players more range in poking out their opponent. We are still in round 1. This is the second game of the GGL Grand Prix. And by the end of the night, we will have four contenders moving on to then playing the best 2 out of 3s come our next round of the GGL Grand Prix, which will be at a different event, most likely at GGL 5. And so already fairly even on the CS. This matchup's also going to be very interesting to see how it develops with the Aphelios guns, and sort of seeing what approach he wants to take. If he's just going to fully play it passive, or is he going to use the guns to have his moment to sort of burst and continue. Already getting the early pressure off, utilizing that the Calibrum Q. Taking a note as well is that there is an electricity on the Heimerdinger, so definitely going for a more burst damage approach to this. And they're dead even on CS right now. 16 to 16, 17 to 17. Very competitive, aggressive. There's a stun there, and not going to see much follow-up off of it. Very interesting to see as well how FF deals with this sort of burden of having to manage mana. Typically with Aphelios, he can just kind of sit here unless he doesn't spam abilities. He's going to have very healthy mana bar, whereas on this Heimerdinger, he's going to want to try to make the most of it. And already there it is, Graviton coming up. Got to be very careful because with that lifesteal secondary still up for Aphelios, doesn't want to get caught with what's it called, with the Severum ult. Aphelios gains back roughly around 200-300 health, so it's going to be very big in shifting the tides of the match. And already hitting the level 5. And gotta be very careful. So Infernum Gravitum up. Big damage. And we're gonna see how FF wants to try and do damage mitigation. Oh, unfortunately takes a tower shot there. But very, very good wave control and pressure. And brought the Oracle. Can it take out the ward? Definitely not an expected option. Came back with an Amp Tome and another set of pots. So you can kind of tell that FF is going to be in this one for the long haul. CS still relatively even. Meanwhile, it's going to be a Boots and a Dagger buy for G on this Aphelios. There's the Fiendish Codex. It'd be very interesting to see what is the first major component going to be for FF. The benefit, in this case with Aphelios, can just really most likely buy items to get to that Noon Quiver and a lot of ADC items. Build relatively comfortably into themselves. So, with like the Dagger and Longsword. Oh, there gets a stun. And Electrocute proc. Good amount of quarter, about a quarter health damage for FF. To the Aphelios.
The sweet smell of science.
Gets the stun, unloads a rocket barrage. There's an exhaust, has to take the flash and barrier to escape safely. 41 to 41, so evens up the CS total while executing a very, very hefty burst. That's why you gotta be careful. You just can't sleep on FF. Stops the recall! Takes a tower shot for it. But gonna further delay his opponent. We have an in-house rank committee, and this is why some of these competitors are ranked the way they are. It is just their playstyle, their approach. In the bush, which is allowed here. You're not allowed to enter the river in the GGL, but you are allowed to use the bushes. Decides to cancel that. And a blasting wand buy. So it seems that potentially maybe building a Gnasher's Tooth. Very unorthodox item for Aphelios, but we're going to see how it comes into play. Level 7, level 6 respectively for FF and G. And it's gonna be Sapphire Crystal, the buy for FF. And as we look at the CS totals, as these two waves are gonna meet, it's gonna be dead even. Oh! Unfortunately missed that last one. 50 to 49 is not a bad position to be in at all. And right now, just a Symphony of Chaos in the mid lane. Gets the stun. Gets an unloaded Rocket Barrage. Oh, the lifesteal comes out. And it's going to be about roughly even health for the both of them. Slightly in favor of FF. But big thing to note is that ult is still up for G's Aphelios.
It's smaller than the diagram.
And now we're going to see the wave is approaching. If I'm looking to get aggressive, gets another stun. Small trade. But right now that CS gap is growing. And for those that have been experienced in GGL 1v1s, wow, gets clipped with that Aphelios ult. And it's going to allow G to stay potentially in this lane now, as he's now got a very sizable health bar. Alright, FF 70% of the way through. And now as we get later into the game, the CS gap, you know, the gaps become way more sensitive. And it seems both of them are going to take a synchronized recall. The item Lost Chapter for FF. Makes sense. Meanwhile, we're going to see the boots come out, the Berserker Greaves, for G's Aphelios. And to get a gold check, roughly still even. Slightly favoring on the 3k side for FF in total gold value. Although 2.8 is nothing to scoff at for G.
It's smaller than the diagram.
3/4 of the way there for a CS win for FF. Unfortunately, can't really get much with that poke. Infernum Gravitum up for Aphelios. Wow, obliterating the wave. Big thing to note here is that ultimate is up for Heimerdinger. Oh, gets stunned. It's got to be very careful. Oh, Infernum going to go out very soon.
It's smaller than the diagram.
84 to 71, the current CS differential. And so what potentially was predicted by odds makers to be a bit more of a brawl has become a great match of tactical warfare. And get this last one. Oh, 11 away for victory. Meanwhile, 25 for G. So if he wants to win, he's going to have to most likely seek a finish. Can't get the poke there. Gets the turret plate, and that last chunk of gold could be what he needs, although it doesn't seem like he's going to want to take it back. Six to go, but this long-range poke damage for Aphelios. Aphelios gets towards the 80% mark. Be very careful. Alright, the rifle taken away. But now, got Infernum, Severum, a lot of lifesteal. Goes for the damage instead. It's a nasty trade back from it. But, oh, there's the flash engage. Goes barrier. Oh, it's a bunch of rockets, most likely able to get out. Took a lot of damage. 40, about 100 health with the level up. This one is real close. 97. 98. 2 more to go. And there's the 100. FF defeats G by CS. Gets the kill for show. And he moves on into the next round of the GGL Grand Prix.
A summoner has disconnected.
shout out to both competitors for a very, very exciting match as we get our next match underway. And so our next match will be SNC's Reign versus Wolf, the GGL's very own Wolf. So that one should be very exciting. And we will get them both in here in a moment. But I will say that was very excuse me, very competitive, very exciting. Very exciting match. And so we are going to get everything set up underway. Part of the duck screen is we have to quickly very much reset our software that we utilize for bans. But we are going to get that back up, and there it is. So for this next match, we have the Always Game Reign up against GGL's very own Wolf, one of our pit bosses. Always very competitive. And so, those one. So already, as we were waiting for its update, we've got Samira and Ezreal taken off the board. Nefiria has been taken off the board. And so that should update Reign versus Wolf. So we have Samira. That'll update to Nefiri, Akali taken off the board, as well as Ezreal, Lux, and LeBlanc. And so this is very interesting. For those that have followed Wolf before, Very, very strong Kali player. We're hoping to see that hopefully come through, but unfortunately not tonight. Meanwhile, then Rain, a support / mage player. So is that kind of how we're seeing the Ezreal taken out, the Lux, the LeBlanc, Samira and Etheria Kali, very, very aggressive picks. So we can either assume that Rain doesn't want that aggression coming at her, or she's looking to play a much more passive lane. It's going to be very interesting to see how they approach that. And we have the champions selected. And the matchup is going to be Aurelia into Aurelian Soul. Now this one should be very interesting, as Rain's Aurelia is a pick that we have not seen here in GGL. We saw her last week on the what's it called, on the Vex. That's what it was. Last week on the Vex. Both these contenders looking for their first win, coming in at 0-1. And credit to both of them kind of showing up, taking last minute opponents. It takes a lot to kind of go in there. I mean, credit to all our competitors for showing up. It's not easy at all to come on the GGL stage and play, but respect to all of them. So the matchup will be Aurelian Soul. Should be an energetic matchup, and you get, it's one of those things that you see and it gets you excited, gets you hyped, but that's not how every day is. So I like to give a shout out to our sponsor, W Energy, which is a good way to get hyped and amped up during the day without all the messy jitters. W Energy is a more natural focused energy supplement excuse me, that comes in a variety of delicious flavors while still giving the boost without all the jitters. They don't use additives, chemicals that you can't read or understand, and no fillers. So what you get in the tub is exactly 40 scoops, and that's it. It's none of the extra stuff that is not going to help you in any way. It's no worry about having all the good stuff settling at the bottom. What you pay for is what you get. And it is a water mix solution. So you pour some water, you put in your scoop of W, you shake it all about, and that's how you get a deliciously tasting energy supplement. And W is definitely very good. I'm not someone that does super well with caffeine, but it gives the boost without all the shakiness and jitters. So if you are interested in getting your own set of W Energy, then you can go to wenergy.com and at checkout use promo code GGL10 to get 10% off your order of W Energy. Thank you to W Energy for sponsoring the GGL, and you can find them in our server in the post-match report. And we are loading into Summoner's Rift. All right, there's the game load up. And so the matchup is going to be Aurelia versus Aurelian Soul. Project Aurelia, Storm Dragon, Aurelian Soul. Shout out to Ao Shin there. We're waiting for this one to load. For whatever reason, this one is not loading up. And we are in. Alrighty. So, out of the blue side, we have a mid laner support coming in with a GGL record of 0 wins, 1 loss. We have SNC's very own Rain. Meanwhile, out of the red side,
Summoner's Rift.
coming in a mid lane support player, coming in with a GGL record of 0 wins, 1 loss. We have the GGL's very own
Minion spawn.
Wolf. It's going to be very interesting. We have Arcane Comet versus Conqueror. And very big thing to note is the Ignite versus the Teleport. So Wolf definitely on this one looking for way more lane presence with that Teleport. However,
Minions
Rain's
have
going to try to
spawned.
get her out of this one early with that Ignite. Standardized Dorn's Blade for Aurelia, Dorn's Ring for for Wolf. So already relatively even. And so, alright, early pressure as Aurelia has the slight level lead. So early pressure, sort of more so even pressure coming out from both of them. Very slight CS lead to Rain. And Wolf putting on a lot of pressure with that new Aurelian Soul Q. There it is. There's a Conqueror proc, Arcane Comet proc, and just like that, 3 minutes in, Rain defeats Wolf, and that one was very fast, very kind of interesting. How like didn't expect this one to be the explode and get going match, but nonetheless, it happened, and Rain's gonna improve to 1-1.
A summoner has disconnected.
And so with that, we are going to get our next match underway, which is Explosive versus Jericho. We are going to get them in here and all set up. And so this one should be exciting. It is the unfortunate matchup of and so actually I was just notified that unfortunately we have to cancel that. Unfortunately, we have to cancel that matchup due to a technical dispute. So we are just going to have to go forward with our main event. So we apologize for that, but please stay tuned as we will get underway with our main event. And we have both competitors. Thank you to both main eventers for being ready on such short notice. And we are going to make sure everything is set up with them. So we are going to be here and we will be back in 60 seconds. All right, and we are back. Sorry about that slight delay as we needed it to prepare for everything, but we have our main event here, Tyler versus Xavi, and they are getting their bands underway. And so initially we have already our first band coming through, which is gonna be Ergot, followed by the Mordekaiser. And then we have a Diana band. Don't worry, as we get them, we'll have the board update. And we have a Vigar band. So Ergot, Mordekaiser, Diana, and Vigar all taken off the board. The board. There's the proper transition. I'm sorry, I did not know I didn't have a transition yet. And we are gonna get our final ones. As a reminder, this one is best 2 out of 3. So this will definitely be our first and only set of the night as we get ready for the main event. We have a Heimerdinger ban, and the final ban is gonna be Renekton. So, Urgot, Diana, Heimerdinger, Mordekaiser, Vigar, and Renekton not going to be available for this game. This is our main event. Deep Below Esports owners. You have Tyler, you have Xavi, and this one should be a very interesting battle. As they're both making their GGL debuts against each other. I mean, what more of an interesting debut than against someone you already know? And it seems that we have the picks made. It is gonna be Thresh versus Swain, and this is gonna be very interesting. So, from what the information we were able to gather, as these two are relatively new to 1v1s, that Xavi, a big player of bot lane, so typically an ADC. So the Swain pick is very interesting. However, we had Tyler, who was coming off a larger layoff of League, opting with the Thresh, talked about back in the day, playing that very nostalgic AD Thresh build that a lot of players remember. So seemingly focusing more on that. So this one's going to be excuse me, be very interesting to see where this one goes. And so first with this one, I want to give a shout out and thank our sponsor, BetBuddy and Elden Hell, who is the owner and founder of BetBuddy. Done a lot of good work and a lot of help in terms of providing us one of the bigger pillars of the platform in which the GGL stands on, which is our betting. So big shout out to him. Very thankful for everything that he does in maintaining the bot through outages. But yes, so if you haven't already, placed your wagers for the main event, Xavi versus Tyler. Should be very exciting, very competitive, and remember, it's best 2 out of 3. So you got to win 2 to take the entire series. Special shout outs as well to AKG Animal Kingdom Gaming for those who have helped us in terms of promotion. And shout out to Deep Below and Dubby. Deep Below, obviously, where Tyler and Xavi come from. Go check them out. They do lots of great content. Shout out to their content manager, Riley. And so this should be a good one. We're 30 seconds out from Thresh and Swain. And so over at Deep Below, they do a lot of tournaments and content related to that. So they're looking to set up a Valorant tournament event. So definitely be on the lookout for that. You can find them as well competing in amateur leagues, hosting events. They have two to three league teams active, where we've had very graciously a lot of their players come from. And then on top of that, they also have the Valorant team. So shout out to them. As we load into Summoner's Rift, the matchup is Thresh versus Swain. And we are going to get the in-game as soon as it is available. Apologize for the dark screen. And there it is. High Noon Thresh, Winter Bless Swain. And so now it is main event time. In the blue corner, we have a veteran making GGL debut. Give it up for Tyler on the Thresh. And in the red side,
Welcome to
we have an
Summoner's
ADC player coming into GGL with a record, making his GGL debut with a record of 0-0. We have
30 seconds until minions
Xavi
spawn.
on Swain. So we have the Door in the Ring start for Swain, which is pretty typical for most Swain players. However, with the Dorn's Blade and the Lethal Tempo, we are going to see that AD Thresh come out.
Minions have spawned.
So it should be very, very interesting. And we're going to see how these two approach the matchup. There's definitely something to be said about when you're familiar with a player in terms of how you approach the matchup. You're typically more comfortable in whatever approach you choose, whether you choose a more passive approach or whether you choose to be more aggressive. And so, right now, Xavi, the fresher player, if you will, a bit more active in League so far, off to a pretty good start. Although, Tyler seemingly trying to wear away a bit of that ring rust. Oh, gets caught by the Swain root. And very early level lead for Swain. There's the whiff grab there. But the big thing to note about this one is that Thresh stacking with the souls as minions are killed. So it's going to have to be very careful as this one goes farther and farther. Going to build natural AP and armor with those passive souls. And unfortunately, they grabbed a minion. But so far, the CS 15-12. And they're seemingly wasting no time going on in this one. Both of them very consistent with their CS. Oh, takes big damage there. Gets ignited. Oh, with the W.
Aced.
Xavi gonna finish Cujo in game number 1. And that one just kind of exploded on us. 15-12, the final CS total, as we get ready for game number 2. Wow, what an insane start to our main event. Xavi up 1-0 so far in the series. And so it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments he wants to make for game number 2. And we are going to get this. And we are keeping the same bands for Xavi, and they're just going to go with the same bands. Okay, so Urgot, Diana, Heimerdinger, Mordekaiser, Vigar, Renekton, all taken off the board. And so with that, we should recap definitely what just happened in that game. So it was definitely a fairly competitive early start for the both of them. Although, however, as most likely Chronix are one of our more local residential swing players, that one definitely had just an exploding moment. I think that's the best way to look at it. Everything was okay, and then the root came and the ignite and the burst damage, and that is how Xavi took game number 1 in what otherwise seemingly looked to be a very competitive game 1. However, we've got the next match underway. They've chosen the same bands. And now it's going to be Fiddlesticks versus Pantheon. This will be a first-time GGL appearance for Fiddlesticks, while on the other end, Pantheon has been definitely a champ that has been explored a bit, primarily into the Lucian matchup, which Lucian owns over Pantheon at the moment, 2-0. However, this should definitely be a very, very interesting one. It's going to be the AP versus the AD. Big thing to note is, for those that are not familiar with Fiddlesticks, is that primary ability for sustain and damage is going to be his W, in which he steals life force. Although, for those that are familiar with Pantheon, you got to be careful when you're close range with Pantheon. The W comes in, and then the Q, and then a disengage E where you take damage and can't deal damage back. Can make this very difficult for certain champions. So it's going to see how they want to play it. And if Xavi keeps up the aggression, it looks like this Pantheon can very well push him to a series victory. And while we wait for the competitors to load in, I want to give a very special thank you and shout out to our partners over at AKG. They're our new partner server, and they're looking for orgs, teams, and free agent players up to Emerald 1 to compete in their upcoming season beginning on August 21st. That is a week away. They have 2 leagues that are accepting signups. Currently, they have the Hunt League, which is their more competitive focused league with a prize pool of $500. And then they have the Safari League, which is more fun oriented, has a prize pool of $250. So whether or not you like to try hard and play your best, or if you're looking for a more casual group experience, you have options over at AKG. If you're interested, you can head over to their server, which they are many Discord servers, and we are going to post a link to their server after the match for the post-match recap. So you don't want to miss that. If you want to get a part of that, stay tuned for that. AKG, Animal Kingdom Gaming, putting on great events. And so shout out to them and thank you to them for partnering with the GGL. We are waiting for them to load. And now we're live. So, out of the blue side, we have Tyler on the Fiddlesticks, and in the red side, we have Xavi on the Pantheon. Currently leading the series 1-0. So very much series point right now.
Welcome to Summoners.
Xavi on this Pantheon.
Seconds until minions spawn.
And so it's going to be first strike versus press the attack. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see how they approach this matchup.
Minions have spawned.
And with both Flash Ignite, seems that early damage may very much favor Xavi, but we're going to have to wait and see. And so E-Start for Tyler there, going to get a silence and good early poke out of that. The Q start for the Pantheon. And so far the E's doing really well, very hard to react to. From Fiddlesticks. And right now Tyler just used them to get very, very strong poke. Right now, the CS lead favoring Xavi. And it seems they're going to hit level 3 first. Well, level 3 first for Tyler. Already we are sort of surpassing the match time from game 1. And this Fiddlesticks pick definitely seeming very comfortable for Tyler. He's get very good poke out. And is able to sort of stay relatively healthy. Although, fortunately, falling a bit behind in the CS department, which we talk about that 15 CS gap, which is sort of what we have observed as being the falling behind point. Well, right now, Tyler trying to stay on the better end of that number. Nearly a 50 health, although full stacks up for the Pantheon. Oh, there's an engage. There's a Q. The E answer back with the W. Wow, answering back with a mini full combo of his own. Tyler not scared at all. Alright, y'all, this is our main event of the evening. Deep Below's very own going at it. And already in early back being taken here by Xavi on Pantheon. And so we're going to see what he does with it. And comes back with double longsword, and that minion wave going to put big pressure on the tower. So a biscuit in tow, buys the amp tome and the boots. And so right now, and Xavi's not going to get any of the waves. It's going to get killed entirely by the tower. So right now, Tyler in excellent position. Big thing to note there is that Tyler is over halfway there to his level 6. So he's probably most likely gonna hit it first, and we're gonna see what kind of factor that plays. That said, though, you cannot sleep on Pantheon's burst damage. So if he feels like he's worth taking the risk, he may just instead just jump headfirst into the ulting Fiddlesticks and try and out damage him. 27 to 24, the current CS total. And those biscuits giving Tyler a lot of sane options. Right now, these two are playing it very, very passively in terms of the lane. Level 6 an option for both of them. Most likely, Xavi going to use it probably to gain more lane pressure off a recall. And so game 2 already with a very different tone than game number 1. Unfortunate with their on the E. Mortal Will passive up. Oh, he's going to walk him down. Q. Oh, got feared before the E could go off. And going to use a biscuit, saving that pot. 6 CS is the difference right now in favor of Xavi. And this is what we talked about with Pantheon. Pantheon does so much damage. That said, the Phase 6 is also very damaging champ. Gets the fear to mitigate some of the potential risk off of the W. And so we're going to see Kenny cash out on what's left of this wave. 33 to 40 as we approach the 8-minute mark, a back taken. And so we're going to see the serrated Dirk and a longsword come out for Xavi. Although Tyler is seemingly going to have a wave push up. Not opting to use the Pantheon ult. And so also seems like he's not going to get any of these minions. Or, oh, actually, might catch up. Gonna rebound them. Being good use of that Mortal Will passive for Pantheon. 5 CS is the difference right now. Still very close and very competitive. And so we are going to see the Blasting Wand and a Control Ward come through for Tyler. Neither ultimate has been used. And they're set off more so the Fiddlesticks Ward. Gonna shut it down with it. So we have some vision warfare going on right here in the mid lane. Oh, couldn't get the prediction there. And already over the 50% mark is Xavi. And so this one's going to be very interesting. Getting good damage off there. And now we're seeing the benefits of that first strike come through. Now that he has much more damage to offer. It's going to lead to an increased payout of gold. There it is, an ult engage. Oh, it does the flash to stop his run. There's the ignite. There's the W. Oh, uses the E. Is that going to be enough to get away? Ignite piecing him. It is going to be enough to get away. Unbelievable. Head-on engage by Tyler, forcing Xavi away. Saw his moment and took it. Big thing to know, has a Hex Flash. And so now this is it. This was the turn we were waiting for. We see how activated, how ready Fiddlesticks is. And so now another longsword and a pot coming out. And the gold lead now has shifted towards Tyler. And we see the sorcerer's shoes coming out. And so 6 difference right now in the gold lead, although if you can take advantage of this wave, it's going to be able to make it up. So very competitive, but wow, that Q did a lot of damage, finally finding a home. And now you can tell as the players, they're getting much more tense. 63 CS for Xavi, 59 for Tyler. Fiddlesticks ult is an option now, with with the sorcerer's going to get extra magic penetration. And big thing to note is that there is a Hex Flash available. Both of them have Ignite. So Tyler seemingly in a position where he could go for the finish if he feels like it is a must, because currently has not been able to overtake the CS lead.
Turret plating will fall soon.
Already 70% of the way through. And just kind of just these moments where you just kind of wait the sweaty palms, as you don't know when the big moment's going to come. About 50% health for Tyler now as he gets hit by that Q. And we see a back being taken. About 1,300 gold there for Xavi. Gets Prowler's Claw. Very, very strong option. And utilize that the bonus lethality and ability haste. So we see Hextech Alternator coming out for Tyler. Going to be a good strong option for dealing extra damage in lane, but has to be careful because now he's down an item. All right, 10 is the gap right now, and gotta be very careful. Mortal Will up. And oh, with the E already proc Hextech Alternator, so not gonna have it available as an option for engaging with ult. Oh, but misses the Q. The gap is 11. 88 for Xavi, 77 for Tyler. Oh, but now those E's doing a bit more damage on them with that Hextech Alternator. Dodges another Q. Seemingly seemed like he tried to bait. 10 CS to go, though, for Xavi on the red side. Nine to go. most likely Tyler's going to want to win here. He's going to need a finish. Five CS to go. Opted to freeze his wave. 4 CS right now is the difference between winning out the series and going to game 3. There it is. Goes for the ult engage. Takes a flash. Oh, there's the ignite. E having to pop out for Xavi. And a lot of potential on that one, but very far out for activation. Oh my, keeping the pressure on. Goes for the tower dive. Gets stunned under tower. There's the fear. There's the W. There's the pressure on it. Oh, Fiddlesticks finishes him under tower. And we are going to game number 3. What an insane comeback. Seemingly down, but snatches a win from what seemed like imminent defeat. And we're going to go to game number 3.
A summoner has disconnected.
And it seems that we have both competitors ready. The series is tied up 1-1. And we are going to get them in here. And so here we are. They opted for the same bands once again. And this one definitely so far has Fight of the Night written all over it. This has been a very exciting, competitive match. What's it called? More so series, my bad. Series so far. Out of a night that has just been full of surprise and excitement. So, to recap the night, we have Python taking a win over Freedom. Then we have FF defeating G via CS. And then we had Rain coming in on short notice, beating Wolf. And now we are in our main event, tied 1-1 apiece. Xavi versus Tyler to recap even that. First match was a very competitive, close one, but ended with an explosive finish. Explosive finish when Swain beat Thresh relatively less than 5 minutes into the game, about the 3-minute mark. But then game 2 was a much longer, more methodical battle in which Tyler's Fiddlesticks under his opponent's tower, defeated Xavi's Pantheon to send us right now where we are going to game number 3, which is going to be Draven versus Ashe. This is going to be a very interesting one. We've seen quite a bit of Draven here in the GGL. One of the more preferred ADC picks. Now, the Ashe, though, Xavi's been playing a lot of Ashe in ranked. So we're going to see how he utilizes this one. I'm no ADC expert. So for those of you who are, love to hear your predictions as to who you think is going to take this one. So this is definitely most likely gonna win Fight of the Night honors. But Draven versus Ashe, big thing to know, as we've seen also with Draven's got very good early damage output. Get those spinning axes going, and it can definitely be lights out for Xavi. However, though, you have Ashe, a champ that has a lot of slow and can definitely very much wear you down, whether it's with W, her ultimate, and then utilizing that to bounce back with a Q. This one should definitely be very exciting. It is our last match of the night. We're going to have the winner for a post-match interview. I'd like to shout out our sponsors and supporters. First and foremost, W, use promo code GGL10 at checkout at W Energy to get 10% off your order. And then we have Deep Below Esports, who, thanks to them, brought us this main event and have brought us a lot of very competitive, interesting GGL contenders. And shout out to AKG for partnering with the GGL. Go check out Hunt and Safari League. Stay tuned. More so, check our Discord afterwards to see the link to their Discord server so you can go and you can sign up. They opted for the same bans as we transition to Summoner's Rift. Apologize, waiting for the game to load up in here. And so we have in the blue corner on Draven, we have Tyler. And out of the red corner, we have Xavi on Ashe. This one should be exciting. So we see that long sword 3-pot start for Draven. Meanwhile, the Doran Blade and pot start for Ashe. We're gonna see this one is this is another one of those games that I don't really know. We thought the Pantheon one was swinging way more towards Xavi and that he had it in the bag, but you never know what you're gonna get here in the GGL. It's not over till the summoner's voice says it is. Till the announcer says that first blood has been drawn, or a tower has been taken, or we see that it's 100 CS. As the minions make their way, big thing to note, lethal temple start, but we have a ghost on the Ashe, which we'll see how that makes a difference, especially with disengaging with Draven. Because when Draven gets going, it can be very hard to sort of alleviate that pressure. And we see already playing the spinning axe juggle game. So W start for Ashe. And both these two just on point with this. Yes, already early trading, getting slowed down, but taking a lot of damage there. Uses the ignite, has to flash out of it. Xavi. Early lane domination right now for Tyler's Raven. And still having flash up. It's got to be very careful because if he gets going, can definitely cash out with flash. That said, though, even on the retreat, Xavi with a lot of damage to Tyler. As we saw, he was more so below half health, but utilizing the pot to kind of recover and stay in lane. So a recall to survive. Nothing back for Xavi. And this one, Tyler came in as the betting favorite. More so by the odds makers. Oh, but there it is. Gets hit with the E. Gonna try and disengage, but so much damage on those autos already, forcing what was a healthy Ashe down to about a quarter health. Xavi approaching nearly 20 CS, 4 minutes in. Right now in excellent position. No more pots though. And with about 560 gold, Xavi taking a recall, see what he can get back. Most likely, assuming, oh, it's a dagger. Thought I was gonna see some boots maybe to get back to lane faster, but it is gonna be the dagger buy for the Ashe. There, taking a recall, we'll see how much gold is on deck. And it's about 750 on deck for Tyler. Are we going to see a serrated Dirk buy? It is a Sheen buy. So, going to get even more off those autos after using Spinning Axe or any ability. And right now, if you're, what's it called? If you're rooting for Tyler, there's blood in the water right now. And gonna try and stay him off with that W, but Tyler very comfortable right now. Having good success in the farming. Nearly gonna be just about like 13 CS up off his lane opponent. And with that Sheen, it's no joke. There with the W. And already making the CS gap 18. In this pick right now, working wonders for Tyler, who also has ult up. Flash Ignite is also an option. There's definitely a sensible tension right now, as we know what this Draven is capable of in terms of damage. So when is just going to be the go moment. Although now with ultimate up for Xavi's Ashe, it's going to be very interesting to see how he may utilize that to stop an approach. Gets this place. There's the Q going down. Oh, the Draven R misses. Ashe using ult in that exchange, not able to put away Tyler Draven. And at this point, maybe still could be too early to call, but most likely going to need another finish. beat him in game 1 very early on. But now buys the Berserk Greaves. Is seemingly gonna need what already seems like a come from behind win. There it is, the Caulfield's Hammer buy for the Draven. And unfortunately gonna miss out on so much CS even with the boots. Oh, and there's also a boots buy for Tyler's Draven. Be very interesting to see how this one is gonna work out. Ideally, Ash would want to apply a lot of good pressure, but it can just be very difficult. Yep, having to step back and respect Draven's presence. And right now, 28, that number separating them. Ooh, try to get some early pressure, but the E is gonna whiff. And with just this consistent flow of CSing, already approaching 70% of the way there to a CS victory. Oh, but they're trading right now. Oh, gets stunned while there. A lot of damage coming out. There's a Draven on the recast. It is gonna finish him. And Tyler is gonna defeat Xavi in game number 3, 9 minutes in. Very competitive, close series. But the night belongs to Tyler. And special thank you to Deep Below Esports for bringing us this amazing main event series. And so now, with that, we are going to get Tyler in here for a post-match interview. And so we will get him in here. But what an excellent main event. Very competitive. Congratulations to Tyler for squeezing out the win. And is he here? Oh, he's not. Hit Xavi. We're gonna see if hopefully we can get him here. But while we wait to get that all set up, recapping the night: Python defeats Freedom, FF defeated G, Rain defeated Wolf, and Tyler defeated Xavi in a best of 3 series that was very competitive, very exciting. Thank you to Deep Below Esports. Thank you to Animal Kingdom Gaming. And we are going to get Tyler in here for our final interview of the night. Hello?
Hello.
Well, you did it. You had you had a rough start game 1, and even then in game 2 it seemed like the series was going to be swept, but you turned it on, gave us an excellent series. So what was going through your head?
So I wanted to pick, like, I guess rare characters that you probably wouldn't see.
Okay.
So I wanted to, pick some things out of the box, like the 80 Thresh.
Okay.
if I survived long enough, I was gonna go like Kraken and Static Shiv. I was going for more of like an ADC build with it. But I kind of trolled that first match. The second game, I've always liked playing Fiddlesticks, and I feel like he isn't shown just enough in general for anything. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick Fiddlesticks, and ended up winning that one. And then with Draven, Draven was like the first character that I played a lot in the game, and so I wanted to pick that. And I was hoping he would also pick an ADC, which he ended up doing. I thought he was gonna lock in Kaisa, but it was good that I liked that we had a little ADC battle there at the end.
I mean, y'all put on an amazing main event. Very competitive, very, very exciting. I mean, same bands the whole way through. And it was a banger. It was definitely, especially that game 2, that Fiddlesticks all in. Definitely one of the bigger GGL highlight moments that we have had here.
Yeah, in that second game, I was paying attention to the CS. I knew I had to kill him, and I had to go in because he was 4 CS off of winning. So I knew I had to go in and just try and burn him down.
Winning you did, and you walked away with a kill. And so this was an all Deep Below main event. Anyone you want to shout out to or call out?
Well, I'd like to thank you for having us on for the main event. This was really fun, and I want to do more of these.
All right.
I had really fun with this. I know the other owner, Thicky. He was betting on me to win, so shout out to him for betting on me. And then just for Cujo for agreeing to the match and having a good series.
Well, y'all definitely put on an amazing series. Everyone is always welcome here, and you are definitely no exception. You're always welcome to come back and participate. Put on a great main event. And so, everyone, give it up for Tyler, our main event winner. And so, that'll put a capstone on the night. Thank you to everyone that tuned in, that watched, that wagered. This has been GGL 4, Xavi versus Tyler. Thank you to all our sponsors. And to all you watching on Kick.